So, good day everyone. I will be performing a steps on preparing the ship from cold ship to engine fall ahead. Basically, we'll be running a ship from the ship. It's hopefully functional. So the steps that I will doing today or the process from the program itself virtual engine room. It is from the simulator the steps that I will doing. So first and foremost, we need to electricity to power a ship. First thing to do is you should power the plant. So let's go to the power plant and in the connection breaker shall be on. So we have the electricity in our ship. So next thing is you should go to the fuel system and fill the diesel oil deep tank. In order to fill the diesel oil deep tank, we need to open the fuel partition. So in the simultaneous, we can also fill the HFO or heavy fuel oil tank in the right side. So in order to fill this, we need open the fuel oil deep tank inlet valve, the fuel surge tank valve, the filter outlet valve, and the fuel starboard intake valve position.
So, this tank should be not in order, stop this way, close the valve. So one thing that I experience often is that when the level of the tank is high, there will be alarm. So, you should keep in mind that the tank should not be full. So the alarm will be stopped. Next is we should fill this tank, the heavy fuel oil starboard tank, center tank, and the port tank. In order to fill those, we need to open the inlet valve and wait for them to be filled. So it will take some time, as you can see earlier that the alarms sounded. The heavy fuel oil deep tank level is close to full.
Up and we'll just fill this up around 90 or 80% full capacity of tank. Close the inlet valve. It is almost full, and after closing them, you should also close the fuel storage tank valve, the filter valve, and the intake valve. So next is bunker, lube oil, and cylinder oil. So let's go lubricating system. Here we will fill the main engine lube oil tanks, tank 1 and tank 2, and the diesel generator lube oil tank.
So there is off-supply diesel oil in the system. First, you open the lube oil tank, number 1 refilling valve, number 2 tank refilling valve, and diesel generator lube oil tank. So after opening those, you'll open the lube oil system intake valve, which take the lube oil in the outside of the ship. You should worry of them that will not be beautiful or higher level. Should be okay, you stop the intake valve and close them. So let's go to ME cylinder oil tank. So this tank should be filled and we wait the tank to be filled. So it's okay now, the level is okay.
So the CO tank is already full. So let's proceed to steam system. So in refilling the system, we need to on the makeup valve to refill the tank. And let's proceed to cooling system and open the makeup valve tank to refill the expansion tank, and proceed to steam system again to make sure that the tank is above or below 80%. So basic advice: avoid to overfill the tank to avoid emergency alarm. So since the expansion tank is 80%, we will turn it off. And so as the steam system, the refill tank is almost 80%. Wait. And it's already full, so it's already 80%. So let's turn off the valve. So next is we proceed to compressed air system. So as you can see, there's a 0.0 MPa. So we need to reach 2.5 above so that we will have a air supply for our DG. So we will on the intake valve and the emergency compressor. So we will wait until it gets 2.5 higher. So while waiting, let's proceed to fuel system. So we will on the valve to and open the valve intake of the DO service. So since the DO is still not working, we will do it manually. So it is still 80%. And go back to compressed air system to wait until it gets 2.5 higher, maybe 2.7 or 2.8 MPa. Let's wait for a while. Since it's higher, it 2.6, we will turn off the emergency compressor. So next is let's proceed to the cooling system and seawater diagram and on the intake valve to get some seawater. And next is proceed to compressed air system and since it is 2.6, we will on the drain valve to remove impurities and turn it off to make sure the DG is clean. So since we reach the higher 2.6, we will on the valve. And next is we will proceed to the power plant generators and on the two valves of the fresh water. And since it's already okay, we will try to start the diesel generator 1. First, turn on the pre-love pump to make sure it is working. So it is working, let us turn it off. And start mode manual and start. Since our DG1 is already working, let's proceed to main switchboard and DG1 and go to gen selector and place it to DG1. As you can see, the red is turning to make sure it is working, and the frequency meter, we will make sure that it is all equal. So since we have already, we don't need any electricity from the shore, we will turn it off here in consumers. Next is we will proceed to the power plant panel and turn on the DG1 breaker on. And we will proceed to the cooling system and turn on the DG seawater pump 1 on and the DG seawater pump 2 standby. And let's proceed to the compressed air system. And turn on the start air receiver valve on. And go to DG2, the main switchboard. And start it with auto. And standby selector, remove it to DG2. Move it to DG2 and go back to the cooling system. And let's proceed to compressed air diagram. And and turn on the air receiver number 2 intake valve on. And let's proceed to compress air system and turn auto the air compressor number 1 and auto the air compressor 2. Since it's working, we will proceed to lubricating system and lube oil storage. So since we will be refilling tank of the Melo number 1, we will turn on the two valves here in the sump and the center valve. We will be draining some so that we will refill the lube oil sump. So we will wait until it reaches 80%. So since it is almost 80%, we will turn it off. The three valves following, we turn it off. And let's proceed to the steam system. Go to the steam diagram. And turn on the refill pump. Go to the panel and turn on the refill pump. And since, as you can see in the white side, that is the standard or constant water level that we needed. So let's wait for a while. So as soon as that water level reaches to the 100, we need to turn it off to avoid emergency alarms. So since it reached, let's make it stop in the almost red part. So let's turn it off, the refill pump. And after this, we will proceed to steam system diagram. And since we already have some supply, we will turn on the valve and the other one valve. And go to the control panel. And turn on the feed pump number 1 on. So as you can see, the centimeters of the auxiliary is already, the water level of the auxiliary is already getting higher. So as you can see, in the 180 degrees higher, we can see the white part. So we will make sure to stop it when it reaches at that point to avoid emergency alarms. So let's stop it since it is. And as you can see, there is an alarm, so we will only acknowledge it. And we will proceed to the steam diagram. Since we have already some supply, we will turn on the auxiliary boiler and go to the control panel, turn auto the feed pump number 1 and the burner automatic. As you can see, the water temperature is getting higher. Let's wait for a while. Let's wait for a while. And let's proceed to steam diagram. And turn off the valve. Since our water level, the auxiliary boiler has already reached its required temperature. Water level. Let's wait for the steam pressure to reach its required pressure before we turn it off. So as you can see, it already reached its required pressure. We will turn on the valve. So let's proceed to the power plant and make sure to turn on our diesel generator number 2. So there is an alarm. We will only acknowledge it. So we will be starting our diesel generator number 2. Let's start the start mode to manual. Let's begin the start mode to manual and start it. So since we already start our diesel generator number 2, we will be going to main switchboard diesel generator number 2 and turn the gen selector to diesel generator number 2. Since it is not already equal the frequency meter, we will turn the synchro mode into automatic, and for For automatic synchro mode, we will turn on the auto. We will learn that we will know that it is already working when you see the red button blinking. So after this, we will proceed the fuel system. Turn on the bulb. So we will be supplying our HFO number 1 and number 2. So we will get some supply of our HFO STBD, HFO center, and HFO port. So we will in our following pipes that is connected to the incoming HFO are these bulbs. So we will be supplying them orderly. First, we will be supplying the HFO number 2. So if we will see that the HFO number 2 will be supplying, we will turn next the HFO 1. So to supply them correctly, we will turn on the feed pump number 1. And a basic advice again is avoid supplying them on filling the tank to avoid emergency alarms. So we will wait for a while. So as it reached at 80%, we will turn it off and go to the control panel and turn off the feed pump number 1. Before we turn off the feed pump number 1, we will turn off the following valves, especially on the valves connecting to the HFO drain. And so let's proceed to the fuel separators and turn on the steam with the DO separator, the HF separator, and HFO number 1 and number 2. Turn on the steam. And put it on standby. The number 1 and number 2, put it on standby. So let's proceed to the diagram, and we will see if the HFO tank number 1 and number 2 is already working. So since HFO number 1 and number 2 is already working, so let's acknowledge this alarm. So let's proceed the fuel supply diagram, and we can see that at our so since HFO number 1 and number 2 is already working, so let's acknowledge this alarm. So let's proceed the fuel supply diagram, and we can see that at our HFO service tank is already supplying, and we will make sure that it will not be full, and we will only turn off the valve as it reached at 80% to avoid emergency alarms. So let's wait for a while. So we will proceed to the fuel system and turn on the trans pump number 1. And as you can see in the FO service tank level, so we will turn on our fuel circulate pump 1 on and put the standby the fuel circulate pump 2 standby. Same to fuel sump pump 1 and fuel sump pump 2 to standby. So let's proceed. So as you can see, tank is already 8%. Let's turn off the valve and let's proceed to the steam diagram and proceed to cooling system. Proceed to the cooling controlling panel and turn on the main engine freshwater pump 1 to on and main engine freshwater pump 2 to standby. So let's proceed to the lubricating system and turn on the valve and proceed to the control panel and turn on the CO pump. So let's stop by 120 tank level, so turn it off. And after this we will proceed to the lobe oil circulation and turn on the refilling valve and proceed to the panel and turn on the melo pump 1 and put standby the melo pump 2. And let's proceed to compressed air panel and turn on the following valves of the air receiver number 1. And let's turn on the drain valve of the both air receivers to put down some impurities and turn it off afterwards. So since we are done turning on the drain valve, we will turn on all the valves that are connected to the air receiver number 2 and number 1. After this, let's turn on the valve, the 2 bulbs, and let's proceed to the ship bridge and put the operation mode to standby. Go to main engine, put the operation mode to standby. And after this, we will go to the engine general view and put the lubricator setting to higher and turn on the following valves all. And after this, we will test our ship if it is already working. Turn gear motor to astern and check if it is working. Since it is working, we will turn it off and turn the gear to on and go to compressed air to turn on the starting main valve on and go to ship bridge again, and we will test if our ship is already working. Press D slow and go to main engine, D slow, and try to start our main engine. So let's go to the compressed air and turn on the slow turning valve. And go to miscellaneous system and go to steering gear, turn on supply on, drive unit 1 and 2 on, and pump control mode to remote. And afterwards we will go to the ship bridge again and go to D slow to start our ship main engine. Our main engine, I mean. So as you can see, the RPM as we turn the gear to start, the RPM runs slowly, and wait to 60, and let's try the 1.5. So since our main engine is working successfully without some alarms, so for starting the main engine fully, press the ahead full and the ship bridge full and try 5.5, and as you can observe, the RPM reached from 60 above. As you can see that the main engine is working. So that is all for today. Thank you and God bless.